Well, Bakamura, we are up to Daf Mem Hey. Actually, what's Mem Dal on the bottom of the page by the Mishnah. So we're discussing now regarding how the skila was. First, we learned where exactly was the place for skila, and now we're continuing to discuss what actually happened. Mishnah. Haya rochek mitbeis haskila arba amas. When they were a distance of 4 amos of beis haskila, now they had to make the preparations. Mafshitin oisi as begadav. They would strip him of his clothes. Ha'ish, by a man, mechasin oisim ulfanov, they only cover his male parts before him, but not behind him. And Ha'isha milfoneh ume achareh. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda holds that a woman also they used to strip, and they used to just cover the part before and the part behind, but the rest they used to strip because it says oisoi. We learned before already. We'll learn again now. Oisoi, that person gets stoned, but nothing on them. And the Chachamim, no. Ha'ish niskal orim. A man you stone when they are naked and just cover that one part. A woman, you might put some only less clothing on her because the more clothing it acts as a buffer and it prolongs her pain and agony. But on the other hand, it's sneeze, so they would still keep her covered. Yes, all about it. We'll learn right now. Yep. That's what we learned. Very good. And that's the machlekes. Then we learned the ish holds that by a woman you cover the front and the back, but nevertheless you strip her as well, as if to say that he's not worried about the tznius part or anything else. And therefore, the main thing is you want to make sure there's at least pain as possible, and you want to accelerate the speed that the misa takes place. And Chachamim say no. Yes. But a woman not. My tamai the rabbanon. So what is this for the rabbanon? Only thing the Brisa adds over the Mishnah is that explains of you why by Isha because cooler. So what's this for the rabbanon? I'm a crook. It says the pasuk where the Chachamim say that they both are not what do you call it? That a man is stripped and not a woman. What's the svara? So it says the im. So my oisai. What does it mean by oisai? It says him. That what? A woman doesn't get stoned at all. So what? You should only stone him and not stone a woman. There's no such thing. Look, see, it says in another pasuk here that if a man or a woman committed a sin, but it says isha, oh yes, isha, he says clog that a woman also gets stoned. Elamai oisai like susai. Only he oisai means the person, the body, only the person itself, only by him and masculine do we say beloik susai. But when it comes to her, is big susa. She'll get killed anyway, but with her clothes on. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Oisai, even though it's written in masculine form, the entire Torah is written called Lashon Zachar. Oh, it has Taisus and Baba Kama, the big thing points out. Oisai beloik susai. Loishna ish, what do we dasha from Oisai? Just a drosha, that's the body itself with nothing on it. The fact that it's written in masculine is not there to teach you masculine, not feminine. Veloishna ish, veloishna ishna. So what do you see from all this? The Rabbanon Rabbanon are worried. So it's not so much about sneeze, it's more about the people watching. They'll have hirudim, and she shouldn't be the cause of it. So therefore, the Rabbanon say she should be covered. And Rabbi Yehuda is not worried about what other people think, what other people see. And therefore, Rabbi Yehuda says both of them are stripped. This very machlekes we learned that Yehuda Chacham argue somewhere else and puk v'kert, like you just alerted us to the Gemara Saita. Now we learned it by Saita. You have to humiliate her in public, so other women shouldn't replicate her behavior. By the Saita, the one is accused of committing adultery. So they would, and even if it turns out to be that she was innocent, she's not innocent because why did they put her in? Why is she not placed in? Why is she in that situation? Because she was discreet, alone with somebody else, and therefore after Kina and therefore her mode of behavior wasn't that great. So therefore we humiliate her with no misgivings. So that behavior shouldn't be replicated. And then it says that the kohen grabs a hold of her clothes. Im nikru, if it rips, it rips. And if it shreds, it shreds. They expose her chest, aside. Plus, they remove her wig, they remove her head cover. Plus, they also undo the braids because they used to make braids as well. It was Yiddish custom. They used to have braids and then put a cover on the head. And this is where the Gemara learns out the whole idea of a woman covering her hair. And Rabbi Yehuda says, so what do the Chacham say? The Chacham they say, we don't care. We expose her, and other people will see her. Rabbi Yehuda says, Im hoya libano. Rabbi Yehuda says that if she was if she looked right, lahoya megaleo. If she looked right, they would. No, if she's very pretty, they would not expose her chest. Im hoya side enough. She had nice hair. How would they know? Her hair was covered. Lo hoya soisrei. They wouldn't, undo the braids and remove her hair covered. So what do we see from here? Exactly the opposite. Rabbi Yehuda says that no, that we're very concerned about what other people see. And the Chacham are not worried about the Yehudim. What's going on here? So now we're going to explain Rabbi Yehuda. Most of my time, what I say to there, Shema Tate Sema Bez Zakon. You know what Rabbi Yehuda says? That over there we're very worried about it. We're concerned about what people will observe. And over here we're not worried at all. Well, over there we are worried. You know why we're worried? Because what happened to the woman turns out to be she was innocent. And if she was innocent, she will continue living. And you have all these people now who saw her; they'll be enticed to try to commit a sin with her. So we don't want to put them in that situation, and that's why Yehuda says in that case, let her be modest. In that case, we shouldn't expose her. She might come out innocent. And then you got excited. These appear young kohanim, and they might misbehave. Over here, what are you worried about? Are they going to misbehave with her? She's right here. She's being led to the gallows, or be led to the space of skilla. If you're going to say that, okay, they won't be excited with this woman by skilla, they saw her like they're exposed, but it'll get them excited generally or get them aroused, and they'll dilly-dally with other women. Immediately we have a rule. Ein yetzer hara. The yetzer hara is not shaylut elben misha einavra. Yetzer hara is not shaylut only if you saw that person. In other words, if you see one person, you get excited. It's not going to make you excited regarding another person. Even though we had in the Gemara when Rava saw Rav Chiz's daughter, and she rolled up her sleeve. He came home to his wife straight away. So other women we're talking about here, strange women, not to your own wife, but to strange women. If you're aroused with one woman, he's not going to make you aroused for other women. So very interesting. There's addition in Gemara Brachas. Either that Ivan or the Rav that learns from here, because the poskim today all talk about it, but I don't know if anyone records that. He says over there, from here we learn out, when we say Kol B'Isha Erva, is only if you see the actual, and we're worried about the Eitz Hara being Shayla, only if you see her. If you don't see her, no, on a cassette, you don't have cassettes in those days, so if you don't see the person singing, he says there's no Inyan of Kol B'Isha Erva. Based on this line of the Gemara right here, that the Eitz Hara is not Megara unless Shel El Misha Ein of Royas. Very interesting. Oh, Taisa says, Hakimar says, whoever says Rachav, that's if you knew already. Yeah, so if you saw once, if you saw, you don't go to any live concerts, but when you have seen it. Actually, cassette is a word I shouldn't use because nobody says those cassettes are. Let me tell you, we sell cassette players, and Baruch Hashem, a lot of people have cassettes, and they still buy. Okay, right to Gemara. My Rabbi never says Rabbi Yehuda kasha. So you ask the question of Rabbi Yehuda. How come Rabbi Yehuda is not concerned about modesty and by safety? He explains it very nicely. Okay, but Rabbanan the kasha. Same problem with Rabbanan. Over here, the Rabbanan say, very concerned about modesty by skilla. When we come to safety, the Rabbanan not worried about modesty. Look what's going on here. Like kasha. It's not a kasha. Elam Rabba. Beautiful kasha, like you just answered. The Rabbanan not the kasha. On Makra, over there's a purpose. The purpose by Saita is that you want all other women to observe and to witness what goes on with such behavior. The Nivasu kol anoshim, let all the women they look over there and look on and sort of be reprimanded. They shouldn't behave and comport the way this one behaved. So therefore, there's an inyan to humiliate her in public over there because there's a lesson. It's instructive. It's not just to humiliate her. It's a lesson for everyone else around. Over here, what are you worried about? Other people shouldn't follow her behavior. The fact that she's getting killed, you don't think that's enough of a lesson? What if she's humiliated, then I won't do this because I've been humiliated. Or the fact that she's going to make a skilla, that's enough as a deterrent that people shouldn't do that later. So do both. What's the big deal? According to Chum, not worried about modesty by sight. So do both, stone her and humiliate her. Now, this is an amazing thesis here. You should love your friend like yourself. The passing means since they die anyway, what do you have to humiliate? Ameliorate them, try to make it as easy as possible. How do you learn from that when you kill someone, you shouldn't? So Taisus says a pelvic thing. The first line of Taisus, Yesh mefarshim, it is impossible to fulfill the mitzvah of a kamecha when the other person is alive. You know why? Because we pass Machlek is the and the Akiva, but if you have only one kitchen, one jug of water, who gets first? So the other time it says you got to divide it equally. And the Akiva says no, which means the Akiva says, this place is here, that it's impossible. The Ramban of Chumash writes it's an impossible mitzvah. Because it's impossible that a person should love someone else like itself. So he says right here, the only time it's possible is if you're killing the guy, you're killing that person, or you're killing that woman. Oh, that you could talk to love the person because like yourself, you would have wanted the same thing yourself if they do it to you. And at this moment, what's the big deal? You can love someone else. Amazing.
If there's no kamoicha, you can't have the reach. You have to love yourself.
Okay.
So chayecha koidmin is looking after yourself.
Exactly. So this takes without Pedig Lamed Beis and Tanya, it's impossible to understand the mitzvah of Haftarah. The second answer Taisus is saying, okay, there's a Pedig Lamed Beis and Tanya, which says it is possible, and he can't be just Misa, but he says from the Pashal Sikha V'Lesitta, which talks about, we'll see later in the Gemara, talks about also wanting to kill somebody. So then we're talking about dying as well as living. So after Gemara includes both. That's the second answer. No, the second answer is accommodates Chassidus. But the first answer is saying Apinigla, impossible. Amazing thesis. Torah gives us a mitzvah that can't do. Anyway, the Gemara continues. Let's say this from Nachman says he tried to ameliorate is Machlek tonight. Could Rabbi Yehuda says over here that you strip her. You do two punishments. We have to have the Gemeicha. So obviously he doesn't agree with Nachman. It's only the Rabbanon agree with Nachman. Says the Gemara, no, this is what you raised before you mean. That it's more important for some people. The bezoyan is a bigger pain than tsar. That bezoyan is a bigger pain than tsar. So therefore, even though I'll have more pain if I wear my clothing, but at least I won't have the bezoyan. It's the question, which is the misi yafa, and that's the machlekes. Is bezoyin a lack of to remove the bezoyin the misi yafa, or to remove the tsar the misi yafa? Everyone agrees you have to do the misi yafa, but what is the misi yafa? To eliminate the bezoyin or not? That's the machlekes. Which hurts more? And we make a distinction according to the Chamim between a man and a woman. That by a man bezoyin is not such a big deal. Tsar is bigger deal, so therefore strip him. And by a woman, bezoyin is a bigger deal. Now, I don't have time right now, but if you're looking more in Babas of Ches, the whole machlek is there. It's a big Indian there, but the chayt over there is exactly the opposite from here, because over there we say if a poor person comes to you, baikin lemezainas ain't baikin lechsus, or baikin lechsus ain't baikin lemezainas. When a poor person comes to you, sometimes they come, you could have nothing to eat, sometimes you have no clothing. One of them you should interrogate or check out, investigate whether the person is real, is genuine. And one of them, if that person's like, wait, give him straight away. Give straight away, your bread and so on and so forth. And then the conclusion was like obviously like the Chachamim, which means that we say that the Chachamim say that a woman, no, bezoyin is the worst thing. And over there we paskin that no, that tzar is the worst thing. And what's the difference? So how can the two Gemara be clear? Quickly, the chayda of the pshat is, if the person is a fraudster, that means the person elected to decide to walk around with clothing that ishmatis to make money. So it's not a bezoyin because he did it voluntarily. That's why it's not a bezoyin. It's not pshat that that they're arguing like some of the Achreim learned that they're arguing in this very subject here, which is how most Achreim learn, can't be. Then it would be a state in halach. It would be l'chayr over there if he's a khan, is that a but he decided that to get money is worth him more than looking, wearing shmatas for the few days that he's there. And yeah, that Mishnah. Based on Skila, the house of Skila, now we're talking about the actual place, was 2 stories high. So one of the Edim would push him and he would land. Okay, exactly how it works. But one of the Edim would push him and he would land on his stomach. And if he landed on his back, would turn him over on his stomach. Now, are we talking about before he fell? Are we talking about before he falls down, we make sure he lands on the stomach? Or we're talking about even after he falls down? We don't want him to lie down on his back upwards, so we make him sideways, because the stones if he's lying with his face down and you stone him, it's not going to really kill him so fast. On the other hand, we don't want, as Ashi said, we don't want him to lie on his back, because then he looks like a prakton. He looks very arrogant, it's not nice. So they sort of make him lie sideways so the stones can hit his heart. That's what you want, the stone to hit his heart. But yet he doesn't play that way. Being mace, but if he died when he fell down, fine, it's over. If he didn't die, remember 2 Eidim. And Yad Eidim by Shana. So the first 8 gives him a push, and then Hasheni, and the second one Noitilus Evan. Can you imagine the Eidim, 2 nice people that happen to witness an event? Now they have to be the murderers. It's such a big demand. Yeah, I mean, but it's like, imagine what they're going through their head. Beam Lav. I once did only a tara for a mace when we were bochim the person when he passed away in Venezuela when he insisted that only the shir bochim should do his tara. So we did his tara. I had nightmares for 2 weeks. So and imagine that they make us kill this person. You saw the person in Mechal Shabbos, stone him. If he didn't die from the stoning, then the second day gets involved. He takes the stone, and he throws it on his heart. That's how you kill him, throw him on his heart. So it's impossible if he's lying stomach down. It has to be sideways. Or others say on his back. After he fell down, he can lie on his back. It's only when he's falling down, it shouldn't fall on his back. 1 stone, fine. And not only 1 stone, but also if the 8 did it and he died, good. If he didn't, then all the eating get involved. It says, yeah, the 8 did by the so the Gemara taught me learn the Kohen Mishaloi had a council is actually 3 stories high. But remember that he's standing upright. So it's 3 stories. Also remember that a house can also be 10 tefachim high. We don't know how exactly the stories were. Labdafka was so high. Anyway, people go high. Why do you have to have 3 stories? But I mean, we learned we said that if a boy kills less than 10 tefachim, you're not the chayiv because you need a boy that can kill. Okay, which is what 10 tefachim. Less than 10 tefachim is only the zikim. If an animal falls in, you're responsible. But not if what do you call it? If Caleb fall down, whatever. But not if a person is l'chayda asara tefachim. I've called the Elohim as 10 tefachim. Rashi holds Stam Boyer is 10 tefachim. Tracy says no, Stam Boyer is not 10 tefachim because we see by Yosef you couldn't see the bottom of the boyer, and other story you couldn't see the bottom of the boyer, which means by Yirmiyahu that the Stam Boyer is not 10 tefachim, but it just happens to be a boyer 10 tefachim generally is able to kill. Again. You know why we have a deeper boyer? Because in 10 tefachim boyer, even though it could kill, it will take a lot longer. But we want to die faster. Again, twice where we have is also about Misa. So make it 10 stories high. If it's made too high, then the body parts start falling apart, and therefore we do it. First, you have to push him off. Those Gemara thought maybe about he has to jump off or something. Nobody has to push him off. Or how the Adam have to push him off. So we answer. You have to. It's on the part you have to throw him up. I know then you stone. I know you have to do both. Side push him off and side stone him. You suckle or yada. So it says that you want that whichever word it is, it says double, and therefore if it's only one skila or you're throwing down, then it should say just the word suckle or just the word yada. By saying both, it means you have to do both. I know that if you push him off and he died, it is enough. You don't have to just stone him for the symbolic. It means you don't necessarily always have to do both. Maybe it was enough event. This is by Sinai. He said, don't go up Mount Sinai, and so on and so forth. Maybe it's enough. In future tense. The second guy comes along. He takes it. But Tanya, we learned that the stone that was there was so heavy that you need two people to lift it. And then they throw it on his heart. So he's saying here, so he said yes. Of a night of a nice liba, even though it's a stone that can be by the nice liba, two people. So was a time loch titel he gufa. That's a better question. Masa shnei bnei adam. If it's heavy that you need two people, night of a nice liba, how can one person throw in hard? Ella the middle of chabri, lifting it. They had two people lifting it, but once he had it in his hand, he throws along. With strength. Two people throw something together don't have the same power as one person. So to lift it off the ground, you need two people, but then one person actually threw it. He's throwing it. It says he's going to stone it. But yeah, but once it's very hard to lift, but once it's in your hand, it's much easier just to even put a little bit of kayach. So I think what about and so on and so forth. That if it didn't work after they threw him down, and then they had to stone. If the first stone didn't kill him, then he got more people to kill him. So the Gemara, it says they never had to do it again. One stone's enough. Bikamina the Ovid, I said that they did. The all I'm saying is that if it didn't work out, then everybody else gets involved. Evan Hoisa, it says in the Braisa there was a stone sitting there all the time. Sounds like it was the same stone that they used repeatedly. This was the stone dedicated for skila. That's a question. It doesn't matter whether it's a stone. Every single thing that they use to kill the person, they bury with the person. We don't want it to be the constant reminder to people, oh, this is a stone that they used to kill this person. And it'll be a bazayin for the person who died. And remember, after a person dies, it's like he did shuvah about shuvah. So we don't want him to be humiliated anymore. So it says the stone that was stoned with in the ancient and the tree was hanged with, the knife that he was killed with, and the handkerchief that he was strangled with. We'll get buried with him. And you tell me there's a stone. It seems like the same stone. Said no, we don't mean that was the same stone. That as soon as they used the stone, they brought another stone. There was always a stone ready in waiting, but it was not the same stone. Says the Gemara. This place was not buried with him. On a problem, my ima was also not buried mamish with him, but it was buried within his neighborhood, within 4 amas. And we know that a mace is faith is 4 amas. What happened to the Adim? It says in Pasuk that the Yad Adim. What happened to no Yad? Let's say it was cut off afterwards. My time of why you mean a Yad Adim people it has to be the hand of Adim first, but no the Adim, you cut off the hand, they can't do it. But like Elamiatim, so Adim why Dafke you tell me it was cut off? Even if they were amputees, then they shouldn't be able to be Adim on a case of skilla because you can never meet out the punishment. After Adim Gidmin, Adim the amputees, the Mikada, even from the outset, so the din should be that what? That why doesn't the Mishnah anywhere say that Adim Gidmin apostle to say Adis because he can never carry out the sentence. If they had a hand when they said Adis, then they have to use that hand. But if they never had a hand in the first place, they were amputees, so then it's not a problem. So the Gemara makes like a question. So what do you have? Bottom line from all this is that when the Torah says something, the Torah means literally. It says Yad the Edim Shloim means literally the Yad, and if they have no Yad, that's it. They can't carry out the justice. So it makes lots of question. Every place that said it's first of all, I'm asking a question simply. It says if two Adim come to another bezin, and they say that the bezin pliny Ada, this bezin, that person was found guilty of let's say Chil Shabbos, and these two are the Adim. They'll get killed. How can they get killed? The original Adim are not here. Who's the Yad Adim? They're not here. Says Yomar Targum Shmuel Behen Hein Ada. We're talking about the original Adim. Come now to the next bezin. What happened was the guy escaped. He fled. So these Adim found him, and they went back to another bezin in that new town that he's living in. They said, "Hey, We were the Aedis, so therefore you can be Mekayim. No, the Shmuel takes it literally. Has to be the Yad. It has to be the same Aedim. If it can't, it doesn't go forward. Says me being a cross. That's a general question. The Torah says something. You have to carry it out literally. It means mamish. This is what it means. Well, Tanya, we learned most humans are that we kill the makir because he's a we give him chedev. Right, he gets killed with a knife. Ain't the element misak zuba? Oh, we know where they kill him with the misa that the Torah strikes. What about Menaishi miyati yochel misa misak zuba? For whatever reason, let's say there's a law in the land, you not let it kill anyone, decapitate somebody. Shatam misa b'chol misa yochel misa. You don't have to take Torah literally. Then kill him some other way. No, we see that the Torah says something, but if it can't be done, you work around it. And you Shmuel are taking it literally. Yad, and it has to be the original Adim. Why? So he said, that shiny awesome, that's different. I'm a crumb, mois humus. We have an extra word. It says clearly, mois humus. We have an extra pasuk teach you that word. It's a dibui. So let's learn from here. Once that the Torah tells you that, I'm giving you, I guess, an idea. But if it doesn't work, do something else. The main thing is the outcome. That you know, because when it's sayach and goyel hadam, shnekzom agechosh and goyechet ein melamdin. Two psukim that the Torah clearly tells us that if you cannot comply exactly with adhere to my wishes, you adhere to my wishes, you can what do you call it? Use another method, and therefore we say Shnei Ksum Agech Ein Melamdin. Everywhere else we know it's different. What's the story? By Goyel Adam, we just said you can't kill him that method. Kill another way. But Goyel Adam, what's the story there? The time to be learned. Goyel Adam, by Goyel Adam, Yomis Es Harotzeyach. It says by Goyel Adam, and that if you cannot. That the Indian the Goyal has a mitzvah to kill the Rotzech. Mitzvah Goyal Umenayishim the Goyal Shebezim Min the Goyal. How do you know there's no relatives? How do you know that Bezim will appoint a relative? Commission it says, it says if you meet him, who meets him? Anybody. So it's anybody. Okay. Now Rashi's a pella here that everyone talks about. Rashi learns that Bezin appoints a Goyal Dam is if a guy killed B'Shoigig and he has no relatives to avenge his next of kin. Bezin will appoint a girl Adam, which is very hard to understand. Where do you find? In fact, in Makta, we don't do that. There's a difference between. There's two kinds of people. There's one person, a guy who was killed b'shagi, goes through Ari Miklat, and then if he steps out of Ari Miklat, the girl next to kin has the right to kill him. And then you have a guy who killed b'mezid, but we didn't give hasra. We know that he killed him, but we didn't follow the rules. That person, Bezin will appoint the girl Adam. Because the person deserves to die, but we can't do it as a bezin, so you have to go down. But Rashi says it very clearly, if you stepped out, is the din is that the bezin will appoint the girl down, which is a big pella. Yeah, he's all heated up and passionate, and bezin appoints some cold-blooded, ruthless mercenaries.
If you're a kanoi and you're all fighting,
exactly,
then you can. But if you're not, then no way.
There is a hochakil talking about another time where the kanoi pagim by representing the bezin, or they are as an individual. Only Makshisha, but Makshisha, son of Chizda, said to Rashi, Mila being a karaka the cost. What do you mean? Your assumption is what you don't have to follow. What are you even talking about? Of course, you have to follow the Torah. But now we'll learn. If let's say one of them was a gidim, was a amputee, or ilim, or if he was a mute, or if the father or the mother was either an amputee or mute, or chiger, or limping, or summa blind, or chedesh, or deaf, then the son will not be wise. And it says the tafsu boys we dash every word in the pasuk. They should grab a hold of him with a hand. Will I give him now the amputees? The haitzil, I say they should take him out. They have to walk out with him, but not if they're limping. The Omru, they need to say both of them have them mute. But this is not not if they're blind. Because the voice, not if they're deaf. So we take the pasuk very literally. So what's your whole approach here is? Oh, you have a tiny Shmuel. Why are you taking the pasuk literally? What do you mean why? So it says, my time, Lama should mean krok. Isn't the whole basis for this to get to follow the pasuk literally? No, Shiny Hashem, the kuli kra you say to every single detail in that pasuk is totally extra. It should have just said, take him out to the bezin, and that's it, to the front gate, and they'll kill him. What all these pratim is out of the Torah goes out of its way to tell you this is how I want to do. And that's why we'll have them more later an opinion. It never happened. Too many conditions. Toshma coming here, by here Dachas, it says you have to burn everything in the main street. What happens to Ein Lo Chayt? There's no main street. Ein Nasa Dachas, then you can't have it. You take it literally. There's no Chayv to burn all the asses in that city. then there's nothing to be dachas. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Kiva says, "Ein l'chayv, oyster l'chayv." So everyone agrees you have to have a street. You take it literally. The question is, what happened? The street doesn't exist yet. Do you first construct one so that you can have it? The original street being in the Hashanami, a new street good enough. Everyone agrees that you have to follow the policy the way it's written. Says the Gemara concludes Tanoi. So Machlek is Tanoim. What's the Machlek Tanoim? We learned Ein loy bohen yad. What happens that if you don't have a, by Mitzvah, you have to pour over there on his thumb. What happens if he has no thumb? No boy has no thumb, or boy regel doesn't have a toe. Easy is a right earlobe. Then Ein loy tadu lamis. The trader says that's what you have to do. You can't never be told. You put it right there where it should have been. That's good enough. No, we don't take it literally. And I'm sure you don't even do it on the right side. You want a toe, but if you can't do the right, I said it's right, we do the left. So we see that the last two Tanoim hold, we don't take it literally. And the first time hold you do. That's the machlekes. Yeah, anyway, it's very interesting. What Taisa here, we're talking about to take it literally. Taisa says that Rabbi Lezer Aimer brings a whole list of Gemaras where in one Gemara we quote the machlekes one way, and another Gemara, the very same two author opinions are quoting exactly the opposite. The whole Gemara is talking about whether you take if things literally or not. And here, when it comes to the quoting the Brais and the Tanaim, we don't really care to be accurate. And yet the whole sugi is all about how accurate you have to be and make sure you comply. Just ironic. Yeah, but anyway, we're reconciled. Is that what we're saying? He just tell you facts. I think Taisa is raising the irony. We're talking about accuracy, and the more than accurate, and he doesn't even try to explain, why we change things around. By your other here, machlekes about your dain and mechichas is one way in the Dorim, another way in kedushin. Even though the truth of the matter is that the Shainim in the Dorim talk about it. Let's continue. After they have skilla, and according to this Tana Rabbi Lezer, everybody who gets skilla gets hanged afterwards. Everybody. Doesn't matter why you're getting skilla. Doesn't matter. Everyone gets hanged afterwards. And the Chachamim say, no. The only one who gets hanged is the Megadif, the one who curses out and if you worship Avodah Zarah, which Megadif is like Avodah Zarah. Only those two. But if you Machal Shabbos, you don't get hanged. When you hang them, Pon of Klapi we want them to face the people. But Isha, by women, Panel Klapi Eitz, the Rabbi Lezer. And Rabbi Lezer, again, also worried about modesty, so a woman, she faces the other side. Chacham say, Ish, Nitl, Ish, Nitl at all. Only a man gets hanged. The woman doesn't get hanged at all. Rabbi Lezer, what do you mean a woman don't get hanged? Remember that whole story I told you about yesterday? Those 80 Machashayfis, they were hanged. So we see women do get hanged. That's a different story. Shemainim Nosha Tala was 80 women. We know a rule that you don't judge two women, you don't judge two people the same day, and they have to hear each case separately, and they were all judged on the same day. So what does that prove? He wasn't following the laws there of the bezin. There was a Hayrah Shah. Remember the whole story we learned, and he was a message from Abishta. You better get rid of them. So therefore, just like we didn't follow this rule, they hanged them just to also to keep them off the dirt and everything else. So just to what do you call it? It's a Hayrasha, the whole thing. You can't bring any analogies from that. Also, because at that time there were many women involved in kishuf, so they had to make sure, Hayrasha to teach a lesson to everybody. Yes, to prove this is an answer that we didn't follow the laws of Bezin, but I would kill those people. Says the pasuk, he killed them with talis. Doesn't specify which misa, even though it's talking about skill there. So therefore, every single, no matter if you die mechanik, maybe after the Bezin kills you have to be hanged. This megadif, because the killers are kim toliboy. Limited to the megadif. Nu ma mekalozeh shebeskila afkol shebeskila. So anyone similar to that gets skilla. In other words, and the Chacham say no. Sorry. So he says anyone gets skilla. We broaden it. Anyone who gets the same punishment, okay, not every punishment, but the same punishment skilla gets hanged. That's Rabbi Lezer. The Chacham say no. We do expand only a little bit. Only over the Avodah Zarah. Ma mekal shekofabik and deny the Abel's existence. Afko shekofabik denies the Abel's existence. The Maika Miflagi. What's the machlekes? The Rabbanon Darshi Kololi Prati. Rabbi Lezer Darshi Dibu Yemit. in a nutshell, we already had this a few times in Rubin and other places. Klal uprat of klal, and there's a long Rashi here to explain very nicely. If you look, this is how it works. Klal uprat means that the prat is coming to explain what we meant by the klal. Ein bechlal ela masha prat. Klal is a generic term. Prat is very specific. So this comes as prat and says that the klal didn't mean a generic. It means only limited to this. Then comes another klal afterwards. Comes to broaden it, similar to the prat. Klal the prat. Klal ein bechlal ela masha prat. It has to be daimit to the prat. So therefore, if you learn like klal uprat to klal, so first it says only we have a klal prat. Muhammad is a klal and a prat, and over here, as the Gemara spells it out, so the prat comes to limit it only to the case of Megadif, comes then the klal afterwards and broadens. You know what? Also on Ovid Avodah Zarah has to be similar to the prat. However, Rabbi Lezer holds it's ribu midribu. Ribu miyut, according to Rabbi, ribu miyut means is the same as klal prat klal. That the miyut is coming to say no. Let's limit the klal. Let's limit. I'm not explaining the klal. I'm limiting the klal to something similar to this. It has to be very similar. Only Ovid Avodah Zarah and Mekal similar. But then you have another ribu afterwards comes to broaden it. But if you broaden it completely, then what was the point of the miyut? The limit things which are not similar to the miyut are not included. So anything with skila. And the Gemara spells right here. So humus with talis is a cloud. Humus with talis is a cloud. And then the next part says kikilas because it's written far away, as if it's written in between. Kikilas is a prat because you cursed. Only that. So if it had been a prat and a klal, we would say if you learn klal prat, the prat comes to explain the klal. Now, what I mean by this klal, I meant only the prat. Only that. Only megadif. Now that's far away from each other. That's called klal the prat. The klal comes to be mad, but anything which is similar to the prat. What's similar to a megadif? That's the view of the Chachamim. Rabbi Lezer says, no, I darshan ribu yimid the ribu. So the ribu yimid, what does the miyad do? The miyad is not coming to explain the ribu. The miyad is coming to limit the ribu. Whom is it to lose the ribu? He kills miyad. So he having covered them. He calls each other. The double. Ribu the miyad comes to limit the ribu to only want a little bit to add. What are you adding? One thing more than the miyad, and that is also oived of Mili has to the Mechikim Hadodi, but now that they're far away from each other, it becomes the Ribu Mid Ribu, Ahani Lirbu Shine Scholar. So now it comes to broaden it, to expand. Anyone that gets killer gets hanged. Okay, we'll learn tomorrow night, Misham 10 o'clock.